Hello, welcome to Handmade by Julia Quinn. I feel a bit rusty, like I haven't done a live in a long time, so hopefully I'll remember everything that I want to tell you. Today I'm sharing with you a Christmas card that I made for the 30-day Christmas card making challenge yesterday. And the challenge yesterday was 3 colours: Early Espresso, Cajun Craze and Petal Pink, which you wouldn't really think are Christmas colours. But I started creating with the Merriest Moments stamp set, which I find incredibly easy for Christmas. It has beautiful imagery, 16 stamps, and I really love how my card turned out. So I thought I'd share it with you. It's one of my favourites, a Z fold. And it's basically simple stamping. That's all there is to this card. Just a bunch of simple stamping. Oh, I blurred it a bit there. So let's get started. And as I said, I'm using Merriest Moments for all of the imagery around the outside. I'm using Very Best Occasions. This is the stamp set that coordinates with the Very Best Trio Punch, which has corner edges on it, but it has 2 Christmas greetings in it. I'm using this one. This is a great stamp set, and it is carrying over after the mini catalogue finishes at the end of December. But this one here is retiring. So if you love this stamp set, my advice would be to get in fast and get it before it sells out. I'm also using a sneak peek for my greeting there, the Something Fancy dies. And these are coming in the new mini catalogue starting in January, the 5th of January. And there's lots of lovely labels in there. And the one that works perfectly for that greeting is this middle one in here. Okay, so that's what I'm using there. These are the inks I'm using here. And here's all my supplies. I'll put you over there. I've got a couple of die cut out of gold glimmer paper, which is also retiring at the end of this month, so I don't have much left. And this is one of the holly dies from the coordinating die set that coordinates with the Merriest Moments. It's called the Merriest Frames dies, and they're also retiring. I think they actually might be on special too from the 1st of December. So I'm using those. I'm using some champagne rhinestone, basic jewels for the bling, and then the cardstock I'm using is very vanilla, which works really nicely with your Cajun Craze, which is a colour that a lot of stampers don't use very much. And then I'm going to, so this is just a standard card. So this is how I make a Z fold card. Standard card, and then with the front section, just fold it back again, line it up, and then burnish the edge, score the edge, and you've got your basic Z fold. And then when we put the front and the inside panel on, which I could do now before I do my stamping. So I'm going to do the inside one first. This is the way I usually do it. Do the inside one first, line it all up. It's exactly 5 centimeters smaller than the size of my card. And then this one, to go on the front, you need to make sure you only put adhesive on the left-hand side. Not that I really need to flip it over because it's double-sided, but the beveled edge when you cut your cardstock does make a difference between the front and the other side. So I'm going to line that up exactly with my other piece. There you go. My Z card is complete. Now it's up to my stamping. Just tuck you underneath there. This one needs to be stamped as well, and that's for my label at the front. So just get my Stampin' Piercing mat to stamp on. The first thing I'll do is stamp the greeting, which is in Early Espresso. And I think my Early Espresso needs re-inking, but I didn't want to do it just before I did this, just in case it was too dark and hard to stamp. There we go. There's my greeting, all done and dusted. And now, while I've got my Early Espresso out, I also have to do the greeting for the inside of the card, so I'll do that one together is the merriest place to be. And the stamp that I used with the early espresso for all the imagery is the little holly leaf. So I'll put a couple of holly leaves in. So this style of stamping is actually very similar to the collage stamping that a lot of people do with their one sheet wonders. That's the sort of stamping that is here. And hello, anyone who's come to visit. I've just taken a peek of the camera above me. You're very welcome to join me. I hope you get some inspiration from the card I'm making today. Yeah, so this stamping is just basically creating, you could do this whole on a whole sheet of your A4 cardstock in a cross pattern across the middle and then cut them up to create your panels for your card. But I didn't think far enough ahead to be doing that. But there are some incredible stampers who do beautiful, beautiful one sheet wonders like that. Okay, next I'm going to use my petal pink and this lovely, I'm not sure what this image is, but I think from looking at some other stamps in our catalogue that it might actually be mistletoe, perhaps, which is something I don't know anything about. Put another one there. And I don't want to let the early espresso overpower my card. So I'm doing a fair bit of petal pink on there. That should be enough. And I'll leave that one. Oh, hang on. I've got to do some for the inside while I'm doing it. I may as well, hey. Some pretty ones just at the top and the bottom for this one. And then I'm also using petal pink for the little dotty bits, but I'll do that at the very last because the dotty bits are like the most magical stamp in the world because they cover up any splodges or extra bits of ink that you didn't want to get on your project. Magic. Okay, so there we are. I love this fern. Okay, so that's that one. And I'm just varying my angles and the length of my fern. Just working away around the edges of my panel here. I'm being very careful of this corner. I can see I've inked up my corner of my block there. So making sure I don't. Okay. I really like Cajun Craze, but I do know a lot of people who are not a fan of Cajun Craze at all. So I'm using Cajun Craze for the little berries because I think these are gorgeous and they stamp beautifully. There's that lovely, got the little shine on the ball berries. I suppose they're berries. I'm sort of using them as bits of baubles, I think. Just using them to fill in space. There we go. That's beautiful. And then a couple on this one. One down the side. Oops, didn't quite stamp that properly. Okay. I'm going to see if I can line that up and just add a bit of extra ink there. There we go. And the last bit of stamping on my card, as I said, is the beautiful spots, which is the cover everything up, camouflage the mistakes, fill in the spaces, and some spots on here. And even though the early espresso is such a dark colour, I think it blends in quite nicely with the Cajun Craze and the petal pink here. Okay, now we're up to assembly, I believe. So I can pop this one on the inside of my card. Here. There we go. Doesn't it look great with the vanilla? And then this one on the front of my card. Look at that on the back. Must have had some bits on the... Okay. Then here's my label. Now I cut two exactly the same size. And what I'm going to do to create my framework is to cut diagonally across from that side to that side. Put my adhesive all over the back here. And then layer this just so that there's a tiny border on the top and side and a tiny border on this side and top. And then add some dimensionals to the back of my label. Pop that on there. And then with my little pre-cut glimmer holly leaves, I'll use mini glue dots, which are my favourite because you can be lazy with mini glue dots. Just push them on and pop it in. Now I've only got 3 leaves this time, so I have to decide which corner I'll have 2 and which corner I'll have 3. These, I don't know whether you can tell, there is a really pointy end at one end of the die and this end is quite blunt. So I'm using the pointy end to go out when I'm putting these on. I think I'll put you guys up here. There we go. So there's my gold and champagne. Champagne gems, because Christmas time you have to have bling. And I'm just randomly throwing these all over the place because I like them, actually. It's such a great colour to go with all these gorgeous stamping colours. Oops, that one stuck to me instead of the card. Look at my ink on my fingers. Signs of having a good time stamping. There we go. So I don't know how many I'm putting on here. I'm just adding shimmer and shine. And there you have a Christmas card. Very non-traditional colours, but it has sparkle and shine, which is super important. And it was fun to create. So if you're a one-sheet wonder person, give those colours a go. And I would recommend this Merriest Moments stamp set. It is a fantastic Christmas stamp set. So if you like it, make sure you check out the sales. Bye-bye now. Thank you so much for joining me. See you next time.